Hello there, boys and girls. Once again, we're out in the garden. It's Chris Reardon with you. Today's United Kingdom talk in a rather late, I don't know what you call it really, late bout of summer. It really has been a lovely day today, 70 degrees in the sun, and here we are, coming up to halfway through October. How lucky are we? Not only am I lucky in that respect, but today, for a change, my little cat Tiny is sitting down next to me, aren't you, my darling? She's sitting on the floor here. Come here. Come here. Now, this one tends to keep on her own most of the time. She doesn't really like to be picked up and cuddled loads and whatever. But for some reason, she's come round the chair today and she's sat right next to me. This is the old one. She's about 20 years old. Her little head is at this moment resting on my arm. Now, sometimes you might, when she gets fed up, she starts growling, don't you? Are you going to growl? Oh. See, I told her. Do it again. Go on, darling. Do it again. Can you hear that? And when you hear a cat do that, the best thing to do is put it down immediately, otherwise otherwise it's liable to lash out, and she's disappeared now under a bush. Aren't they funny animals? Those of you following the story of my sister's new dog, she's got a Springer Spaniel, little puppy, will be pleased to know that she hasn't changed its name again this week yet. As you know, she bought it, I think, 2 weeks ago now. First of all, they called it Tommy. The week after that, they called it Jerry. And the week after that, they called it Barnaby. As far as I know, it is still called Barnaby. And incidentally, we've had an email in on that subject from Matty in Tasmania, Australia, who says, "Hello, Chris. With your sister changing her pet dog's name, I thought if you change a pet's name all the time, I think they get confused and they could run away and never come back." Can you hear that noise? Well, what that was the cat so fed up now that I dared to pick her up and stroke her, she disappeared into the shed through the cat flap. That's what that noise was. Yeah, so thanks, Matty. Yeah, I think animals would get anyone would get confused if you keep changing the name, didn't you? But my sister, oh no, she's always right, dear. Oh, she's always right. She only answers to her husband. She knows her place, my sister. Oh yes, definitely under the thumb. But to everyone else, my sister has to get the last word in. I mean, so, to be honest, I've been up there a couple of times, as you know. I'm going up to see my sister. She lives up in Lincolnshire in a couple of weeks' time for about, I think, 3 or 4 days. And sometimes, you know, we might be having a chat and you think, oh, you better let her have the last word. But really, you know, even though she might walk away having the last word thinking she's right, whereas actually, I'm right. But you know that anyway, don't you? There's an email address to the show. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, bless me, Father. Bless me, Suko, for I have sinned. Or have I? I did pop in once again to Morrison's, one of our supermarkets here in the UK, and had another all-day breakfast. But that's only one a week. Okay? I want to point that out. It's not like I'm going in every day. But they do a wonderful breakfast in there, which I know I mentioned it last week. 2 sausages, 2 bits of bacon, piece of fried bread, baked beans, tomato, there's 2 eggs, 2 bits of toast and a cup of tea for about £5.50. I mean, which is fantastic. It's good value for money, that is. And it's all right to have it once a week. And I'll tell you something else. If you go and have that, I've noticed that, I'll have that about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I suppose. So what it is, I'll get up out of bed, get up. By the way, I'm in the garden. You might be able to tell from the noises. Can you hear the birds singing? The dogs barking. Oh, it's so natural, isn't it? It's so natural, like me. I'm all natural. Each one of these lines has been crafted from years and years of smiling. Okay? So just remember that. When you see these people who are, I don't know, over 35, and they're walking around and no lines on their face, you can safely turn around and say to yourself, miserable person, because they've probably never smiled. It's true. You have a look around. I tell you what, I bet you know some miserable people, don't you? Huh? I mean, I've worked with a few, to be honest. God, I mean, there was one particular bloke. He worked in a pub. No, horses wouldn't draw it from me. I'm not going to tell you. But he did work, a youngish chap, worked in a pub with me. And you've never seen such a miserable git in all your life. God knows how he ever attracted any customers in there. But there you go, that's it. You've got to smile. You've got to smile. And each one of these little lines on my eyes is years and years of smiling. So that's it. Next time you see someone who is advanced years and has no lines on their face, you can think to yourself, miserable git or miserable old cow. All right? You just remember that. Now, how did we get onto that? Being miserable. I don't know. No, we've got to be happy. Got to be happy today, okay? Now, we're going to go on to the... Now, what was I just talking about? Oh, yes, Morrison's. I nearly forgot. Nearly forgot about the breakfast then. So you get all that breakfast. Now, if I have that, if I get up in the morning, sort of, usually around about 10:30, if I get up and I'll do some bits around the house, maybe have a cup of tea, that's all, and then you go to Morrison's and have this all-day breakfast, you really don't feel hungry again until night time. So... really, Suko, I don't see how that can be a sin, right? Because I'm also kind of knocking out the meal in the middle, aren't I? Usually, the rest of the week, I'll be indoors and I'll have my either porridge or bran flakes with some sort of fruit on there. Today it was grapes and a banana, although the banana wasn't very nice. You know what I've done, didn't you? I like crisp bananas. You know when the skin starts changing with the brown flecks on it? They've gone a bit soft then, and I don't like that. I do like a crisp banana. So usually, I'll look for the ones that are slightly green. The only thing is, I went up to Sainsbury's, I think it was on Tuesday. Was it on Tuesday? I can't remember what day it was. Hang on, what's the day? 1, 2, 3. I went up to Sainsbury's about 4 days ago, and I got these bananas, and I thought, oh yeah, they do, and they were sort of greenish. And here I am 4 days later, and I still can't get the damn things out of the skins. And they are so unripe, it's unbelievable. They really are. I had to get a knife and kind of slit down the banana. Incidentally, children, don't try that at home. If you want to start cutting up bananas, please get an adult to supervise you. We don't want anyone claiming money off here. We're not having anyone suing this programme for cut fingers, okay? So I had to cut this... I had to slit down the banana and open the thing up and then try and chop it up, but it didn't taste very nice. So obviously they're not very ripe yet. That's what I usually have. And then I'll have that about, I don't know, about 11 o'clock, and then around about 2 o'clock, 2:30, I'll have lunch as well. So they're quite close together, but that's because I do strange hours. And at night time, I don't really have much to eat, all right? So, Suko, I do feel that by having that Morrison's all-day breakfast, I cut out a meal. So surely that must be a good thing, so it can't be a sin. Do I need to confess that one to you? Please let me know. Email address to the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So there we are. Always remember, make sure those bananas are ripe. It wasn't nice. It tasted, I don't know what it tasted of really. It was like, the inside of it was a bit powdery. No, it just didn't taste right. And I've still got another 3 there. Maybe I should leave them outside in the sunshine tomorrow if we've got some more sunshine. It really is a beautiful day today. Once again, unbroken cloud, as I say, about 70 degrees. Right. Off we go to the emails. I finished off the last show halfway through one of the emails from Matty in Australia. And he was asking how radio stations and TV stations make money. And I said with advertising. But I think they seem to have found, certainly here in the UK, another way of making money by doing these things called how low reverse auctions. Now, I've got to say, a couple of the... I tend to listen to talk stations. We've only got 2 where I am. And I do tend to listen to talk stations. And these how low reverse auctions, the idea is they have an item to auction. It could be a very large television, for example. Excuse me. And the idea is you ring in, it's a premium rate number, so I think that costs you £1 to ring in. So you ring this number and then you give them a figure of how much you want to bid for the item for auction. I've got to be honest, I find the whole thing incredibly... I can't quite get my head around it. All the presenters on these stations, they explain it every time how it all works, and I can't get it into my head quite how it works. Now, the person... So that's cost you £1 to ring this number, okay? So presumably the radio station makes, if not the whole of, part of that £1 back. $2, whatever. And then after a certain period of time, they announce the winner, and the winner of the item is the person who has bid the lowest unique bid for that item. And I can't quite get my head around it. Because surely everyone would bid a penny, wouldn't they? So I just can't work that out. Am I being stupid here, or does it sound really complicated to you? Because it is to me. Can't work that out. I would assume that the first person to ring in and bid a penny would win the item, wouldn't he? Because surely then the next one who wins, who tries to bid a penny, would be told that that one's already gone. You've got to choose another. So he'd choose, say, 2 pence. But then when it comes to the winner, it goes to the lowest unique bid. So that'd be... Surely, I can't work it out. I really can't work out how that works. But I'm pretty sure that is now how a lot of these radio stations are trying to make money that way, because, of course, the advertising revenue on a lot of these stations has plunged quite considerably, especially with all the competition from internet sites and Google and the television and everything else, you know. So they are looking at other ways to make money. So they do these how low reverse auctions. Now, I've got to admit, I don't mind listening to them now and again, but they appear to be taking over a bit. It seems to me like every 20 minutes or whatever they start talking about this how low reverse auction. It might not even be every 20 minutes, but that's how it seems to me, and it's starting to get on my nerves. I've started switching off to other stations, usually BBC stations, because of course they don't have any how low reverse auctions or advertising or anything like that. I wonder where are you in the world? Do you have these how low reverse auctions? Are you as confused as I am? Because they've been doing these things for a couple of years now, and I still can't work out how they choose the winner. It's confusing, isn't it? Let me know if you understand that. How do they do it? It's Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. So, Matty, that would be another way these radio stations make money. Also, I think they do outside events sometimes. A couple of the music stations in London, you quite often hear, I don't know, it could be something like, come and see Barry Manilow concert at the Royal Albert Hall, sponsored by United Kingdom Talk. Okay? Then I could perhaps sell tickets for the Barry Manilow show, pay him his wages, pay the Royal Albert Hall their fee, and then the rest of it would be mine. So I suppose some of them make money like that as well. But I think gone are the days when radio stations could rely only on the advertising money that comes through to advertise products on the station. I think they have to look for other methods now as well. Matty says, if I owned a radio station, mine would be like The Way I Want It and the listeners. My favourite tunes from the 1990s, remember I was asking you what your favourite tunes from the 1990s were, are Michael Jackson's music. Even though I definitely do not like his makeup and personality, he is a man that looks like a woman. Well, he is, you know, but you know, Matty, you have to accept, I think, each and every one for themselves. I've seen some very strange sights in the various places that I've worked over the years, and I think as long as no one's being harmed, you accept people for what they are. You know, you have to be a little bit more accepting. Yes, be accepting. I like music from Bjork. Now, I'm not keen on Bjork, as I said in one of the last shows. However, she is a huge international superstar and has many of fans. He also likes Miss Dynamite, yeah, I like her. Madonna, yes. George Michael and Jakarta. I'm definitely not into ABBA or any old music that you oldies like from the 70s, 60s and 50s and partly the 80s. Oh, I'm sorry you don't like ABBA. Again, another huge group. And their music lives on and always will, I think. I'm not from the Stone Age. Well, I know that. You keep telling me that, Matty. I like music that is dance music, classical trance, hip-hop and techno. More like music from the movie Pokemon soundtrack. Haven't seen that movie, so my age is from the new age. I also like Harji and Emmanuel, forget their name group. Yes, I know the one. But they sing the song Golden Sun. And I like the Bamboogie song from Bamboo. Bamboogie, Bamboogie, that one, isn't it? What music do you like? I like all sorts of music. I'm quite happy listening to Jay-Z. And I'm quite happy listening to church organ music. I tell you what music I do listen to relax to, and that is Gregorian chant. Now, do you know, I bet you don't know, Matty, what Gregorian chant is. G-R-E-G-O-R-I-A-N, I think is the spelling. Gregorian chant. That sort of thing is stuff like monks singing in an abbey. It's quite religious music. Gregorian chant, beautiful. Beautiful. Sometimes you have it with a church organ. Sometimes it's just the voices themselves. It's lovely. So I do quite like that, and Latin. Where do you think are the nicest places in the UK to live, Matty says? Well, it depends what you want. For years, I lived in South London, and it was okay. It was very, very busy. Now, I live outside London, in Bracknell, in Berkshire, and as you can hear, the birds singing, the wind rustling in the trees, and it's all so much more peaceful than London. And I don't think I'd want to live back in London again. No. Funnily enough, I actually looked at the house prices in one of the places I was brought up between 1969 and 1983, and that is Roehampton in southwest London. Used to live on a road called Hersham Close. And I was looking at the house prices there, and they are higher, they're about, I would say, £50,000 higher than where I'm living at the moment. And these are only flats. We didn't have a garden or anything like that. So by moving out of London, I'm able to have a garden and perhaps a nicer house, I think, really. No, I don't think I'd like to live in London again. It depends what you like. If you like to be among lots of people, then yes. You want to be living in London, but you will pay for it. It's much, much dearer to live in London. I happen to know a couple who are at the moment looking to rent a flat in London, and they are looking at £1,000 a month for a one-bedroom flat. Now, it can be more than that or less than that. £1,000 a month. That won't get you into central London. You'll be on the outskirts. Perhaps, as I said, Roehampton. Where else would you be? Probably as far out as Roehampton. You wouldn't get further in than that, and that would entail a bus ride to get further into London. So you wouldn't be right if you lived in Roehampton. You wouldn't be right in London. However, a short bus ride and you are in, and you'd be looking at easily £1,000 a month for a one-bedroom flat there, easily. It's very, very expensive to live in London, Matty. Do you have? I wonder, Matty, actually, how much are the places to rent near you? Do people rent in Tasmania, or do they tend to buy their properties? Here in the UK, it's a bit of a split, really. Some people, like myself, we own a house. Other people rent. It just depends. Sometimes what people can afford, and also what they choose to do. What is it like in Tasmania? Do people rent properties? And indeed, how much does that cost? I'd be interested to know, okay? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Matty says, I have a feeling of the UK. I can't make my mind up because it's so new to me and places are so interesting. Well, What do you mean by interesting? It's... I think after you've lived somewhere a while, you get used to it. Now, you've often said, Matty, that you might like to come and live in the UK. Would it not be better to first have a longish holiday and then decide, do you fit in? We don't always fit in everywhere. Let's think. When I came to Australia, did I feel I fitted in? Yes, I did actually. I felt very much at home in Australia. In New York, I thought New York was okay, but I didn't think... Did I fit in there? No, I don't think I fitted in there because it was so fast. I mean, London is fast, but New York is much faster. The pace of everything is very fast. I didn't feel I fitted in there. Italy? No. France? No, didn't fit in there. Barbados, St. Lucia? Did I fit in there? I felt reasonably at home in St. Lucia, not Barbados, strangely enough. But Australia, I felt I fitted in there. Now, you may come here and think, no, I don't, this isn't me. And you see, that's why I would suggest to you, before you decide to emigrate or any of this business, you've got to come to the place or go to the place that you want to live in, and you've got to stay there, I would say, a month, at least a month. And you need to live for that month as the indigenous population lives. Not going around seeing all the sights. You may find that once you've gone to see Big Ben and the Tower Bridge and all this business, you may think to yourself, well, I've seen all this now, what is there now? And after that, you're back where you are now, aren't you? You need to have a long holiday before you decide to move. I would suggest that perhaps you save up for a long holiday first and do it like that. Would you come with your parents or what? How does that work? Not quite sure there. Or would you be coming alone? It's a big place to be on your own, London. Really is. Do you have a friend who you could come with? Perhaps? Something like that? I don't know. All right, Matty? Oh, I meant to say, I did have some emails from various different people that I've accidentally printed off. But me, being the money-saving person I am, what I did was I always print on both sides of the bits of paper, and of course you know what's happened, don't you? I've put the paper in the feeder tray the wrong way round, and I've printed off the emails, and then without checking them, deleted them from the inbox on the computer, and then 2 days later, now, I've picked up the emails. And unfortunately, I've double printed on some of them, and it's impossible to see what people have written. Okay, so I do apologise if I miss out any emails. The reason is I've double printed on them. So 1,000. If your email doesn't come up in the next couple of shows, please send it again. That's my fault for trying to save money, innit? You know what I'm like. Now, oh, by the way. I went out the front today and I took down one of my lovely colourful hanging baskets because we're having such lovely weather. The little pansies are blooming, and I've got yellow and purple pansies hanging behind me today on the show. I mean, obviously you can't... Can you hear them? If you listen carefully, you might hear them. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, what a lovely day it is. It's a lovely day. Thank you, Chrissy. They are. Could you hear them talking? I couldn't quite hear them myself. Hello to Gloria, who talks to us about ice storms. You remember I was mentioning, someone mentioned ice storms and wasn't quite sure what they are. And Gloria says, ice storms happen when a warm cloud rains above a layer of colder air. This lowers the raindrops to below zero, but it remains in liquid form. How does that happen then? Surely they must be just above zero, no? Because if it's zero, then it will freeze, surely, doesn't it? The rain freezes into ice when it hits the surface. For example, when we lived in Missouri, My car was parked outside overnight. When the rain hit my car, it turned to ice. When we got up in the morning, I had 1.5 inches, right? Did you hear that? Inches, 1.5 inches of ice covering my car. God, can you imagine that? Never seen anything like that. There was a bad ice storm in Omaha, Nebraska, on October the 31st a few years ago. Halloween night. Ho, 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 ho. Ho. Hello, actually, when I'm doing... I'm at a very special Halloween party shortly in a couple of weeks' time. They've got me a costume and everything, and my face is going to be made up. I'll get some pictures of that. Mind you, I don't really need a mask, do I? Do I look like a witch? I do when I'm on my bike, like the witch from the Wizard of Oz. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Ice accumulated on everything, Gloria says. The trees are beautiful when they are covered in ice, but then something bad happens. The more ice accumulates, the heavier it gets. Eventually, the branches can't support the ice and branches break. Amy said it was really weird because you could stand outside and it sounded like gunshots everywhere. But it was just the tree branches cracking and falling off the trees. That year, Omaha lost 1/2 of all their trees. That's always very sad, that is, I think, trees. Years ago, in the autumn of, I think it was 1987, we had a terrible storm here in the UK, and we lost an awful lot of trees. I do remember that. At the time, I was working for British Telecom, one of our telephone providers here in the UK. At that time, I think they were a fair monopoly, and the next morning I went into work and there were just telegraph poles down all over the place. An amazing sight, and an awful lot. We got a lot of overtime out of that. Hundreds of pounds I earned for that. We were going in on Sundays and Saturdays and all the time. It was great. Gloria says, the same thing happens to utility lines. So phone service is interrupted and homes are without electricity. Yes, the rain apparently falls on the wires coming off the telegraph poles and freezes, and it brings down the wires on the poles because they're so heavy. Thankfully, a storm that bad doesn't happen very often. The smaller storms leave an inch of ice on everything, including the streets and highways. Walking on sideways can be sideways pavements, isn't it? Walking on sideways can be dangerous, and you can imagine cars on the highway. Well, it must be like an ice skating rink. Very dangerous to drive in that sort of stuff. Airplanes that are parked outside overnight have lengthy delays the next day. I should think they do, because I suppose they have to get rid of all the ice first of the planes, don't they? The hospital emergency rooms have increased activity because all the people who fall because of all the people who fall and break bones. Sometimes the ice will melt during the day, but then it freezes again when it gets so cold overnight, so you have the same problems the next day. Be glad that you never have been in an ice storm. Now, I find that quite scary, actually, Gloria. Thank you very much, your Florida friend, where we never have ice storms, Gloria. Yeah, it's too warm there, isn't it? I suppose you don't have snow either in Florida, I would guess. It doesn't get that cold, does it? I like Florida. Yes, you've got some very good prices on the housing over there at the moment, isn't it? All these people in trouble. Terrible. Right, on we go. Oh, I know what I was going to get to. Just a minute. I've left it in the kitchen. Stay there a second. I forgot something. Don't go away. I'm coming back. Coming back. Here we are. There we are. Now this, I have a large envelope with me because I said I was going to bring this out. Ivona in Slovakia, who's a regular listener to the show, she sent me a large package. Remember, I opened it on the last show, and I said to her that she'd put a lot of stamps on the envelope. And there are, oh God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18 stamps on here God, no, I'm not quite sure how much it cost. But there we are. There's all the stamps on there because she sent me a lovely little parcel with all sorts of little bits and pieces in there. And you know the chocolate candles that I told you about? Yes, well, sure enough, they are not to be eaten, apparently. I did actually. I put a little bit in my mouth and had a little bit in my mouth and had a little bite of it, but it was all just wax. But what I found is that when you light the candle, the entire room smells of chocolate. Oh, it's beautiful. But I was trying to eat the air. I was breathing in. I think I put on about 2 stones in weight while I was breathing in the fumes from that chocolate candle. Thank you, Ivona. Oh, do you want the postal address, actually? I shall give you the postal address now, which Ivona has very kindly written down on my... Oh, hang on, let me just cover over her address. On my nice parcel. Postal address, if you want to put pen to paper, I'm always aware that not everyone has internet. The postal address is... Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk, P.O. Box 4073, Bracknell, Bracknell, RG42 9ED, United Kingdom. Once again, the postal address, put pen to paper and write to Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk, P.O. Box 4073, Bracknell, Bracknell, RG42 9ED, United Kingdom. All right, my darlings. Onwards. It's one of our newer listeners and viewers, Gabe. Hello, Gabe from Georgia. Hi, it's the new listener, Gabe from Georgia again. Thanks for reading my letter on air. Hayley and I were listening in the car. Well, I hope I didn't make you drive dangerously. Keep that speed down, Gabe. All right, my darling? Keep your speed down. And I'd like to just say she enjoyed it, but she didn't pay any attention at all. What do you mean? Your friend, what's her name? Hayley. Why isn't she paying attention? What a cheek, dear. I don't sit here talking to myself for nothing, dear. Pay attention, Hayley. Thank you. I enjoyed the heck of it, though. Thanks for answering my question about the pasty. Riddle solved. Yes, Gabe is one of our American friends, and she didn't know what pasties were, so I explained that they are like various fillings with pastry round the outside. That's a pasty. It is different. It's not the same as a pie. Okay, it's a different like shape. I tell you what, if I remember, I'll buy a pasty and bring it on the show at some point, and then you can, if you log on to the internet, you can see a picture of me stuffing my face, usually with a cheese and onion pasty. We like a cheese and onion pasty. Well, I haven't had any this week. It's good, isn't it? No pasties this week. She says, I didn't mean to offend anyone or anything when I mentioned the waffling. I know that, my love. I was referring to a previous email where someone said you waffled around. I know, it's a cheek, isn't it, dear? Gabe, they all think I waffle. I think it's a liberty and a cheek, dear. I think the show is just great. By the way, never watched, just listened. Did go to the website to put a face with the voice, though. Yes, well, you were probably disappointed, weren't you? I know what you mean, dear. When you listen to this voice, you think of someone with great bulging biceps and youthful looks, and then you come across this sad old git sitting in a chair on his own in the garden. I mean, but he's still smiling and he's still happy, all right? So, there you are. The podcast Mandy, that's his wife, do, is, let me see, the podcast Mandy, my wife and I do, is at iTunes under Gabe's Superhero Show. But it's by no means up to the standards of your fine show. Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. We are just really messing about. So it's called Gabe's... Have a listen to that, okay? If you type that into Google, you'll be able to check out that show. Gabe's Superhero Show. Gabes, okay? Gabe's Superhero Show. We are just messing about. Mostly it's about comic books, movie books and such. Plus we just blab. Is that the same as waffle? The waffle and blab show. With a 2-year-old, it's hard to find the time or energy to do new episodes, but next week sometime we'll do one. Anyway, thanks again for the response, and you keep talking, I'll keep listening. That's what we like to hear. Thank you, Gabe. Nice to hear you. Do you know, when I first thought that was a lady's name, Gabe. I've never heard that name before. Believe it or not, never heard that name before. Onward, it's Toby in Japan, who says, "Hi Chris, I'm listening to your shows very carefully to see if I can get some secret information." Oh no, we're not allowed to give out secret information here, Toby. Here I got one. You said you use Matchbox for your handle name for the CB radio. Yes, well, not now, I haven't got a CB anymore, but years ago, I think oh my word, we're going back now, let me think, 1982 I think, 1981, 1982, I did have a CB radio, and it's like those of you there might be some people who don't know what a CB radio is. It's like a radio that you use to talk to people, but quite often you never know who you're going to get, so you just say, "Hello, anyone want to talk?" and someone might come back to you or they might not, and you give yourself a name. So that on the CB radio, I wouldn't call myself Chris Reardon. I would call myself by another name, or that's also known as a handle, okay? So for name, read handle. And my handle was Matchbox. How did I choose that name? Okay, well, that was when I was quite young there. Let me think, 63, 73, 83. I think it was about 18 years old. Yeah, I was 18. And in my bedroom in my mum and dad's house, I had record covers all on the wall with various different bands, and one of the bands on there was Matchbox, and that's how I chose the name. I just looked at the wall, right, I'll have the name Matchbox. Now, Toby says, "I know some people are quite versatile," and he says, "Are you a match kind or a box kind? Or as the handle name, you prefer match? I am very curious." Now, I don't know what that means. I haven't got a clue what you're going on about there, so you're going to have to let me know a bit more there, okay? I don't know what you mean by that at all. That must be a Japanese thing. I really haven't got a clue what you're asking. Am I a match kind or a box kind? Don't get that. Don't get that. Please explain, okay? We're all waiting to know what that means. Toby says, "I don't know if I should tell you, but my girlfriend's birthday is actually next Friday, so that will be..." Oh, that's gone now, isn't it? Let me think. I think that's probably gone now, yeah. "But I asked you to sing the song for me, the happy birthday song, which we've already done, of course, because I can prepare and make sure I can play your singing on her birthday. It's annoying to think what to give her as a surprise." Well, I don't think you've got a lot of money, have you, Toby? Let me think, what could you do for her? Can you afford to take her out for a dinner? Something like that? That would be a nice surprise. It doesn't have to be a great big posh place, just whatever you can afford. I think a lot of people make the mistake of, they think that the more you spend on someone, the more you love them. And that's just a load of rubbish. It really is a load of rubbish. For example, if my nieces and nephews were to send me handmade birthday cards made out of perhaps just a piece of paper and a pen drawn on the bit of paper, I would much rather get that from them than have them spend £20 on one of those great big cards or something like that. It's not what you spend. It isn't what you spend. And I think, judging from your emails that you've sent me in the past, your girlfriend knows it anyway. She will appreciate whatever you do for her birthday. I know she will. He says, "But I will play the birthday song you sing, and I will sing it with you, maybe in front of a birthday cake or pizza. I don't know yet." Yours from Toby. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Toby. I think this birthday's gone now. I've got a feeling it's gone. But if it hasn't, how about putting some birthday candles on the pizza instead of the cake? Just for a bit of a laugh, eh? Let me know how you get on and what you do, okay? Chris at United Kingdom Talk chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I have to tell you, I got a very, very disturbing phone call today, just before I started the show, from James Dean, threatening to come down from the north, down south for a few days, and asking me, Chris Reardon, international celebrity, award-winning DJ, landlord, global broadcaster, environmental conservationist, pilot, master of merriment, connector, and of course your fairy godmother, asking me if he could stay at Reardon Town Hotel, which is a liberty, I think. I mean, I did say to him, well, perhaps, but you must give me a week's notice. I mean, because obviously I didn't say this to... Do you know, there's a lovely smell of curry in the air. We have a family of Asian people just living across the road there. I bet they're having a curry. Well, they didn't even invite me around. Oh, I do love a curry. I've only just started eating curries, but I won't eat them from fast food restaurants. I wouldn't go to a curry and get a takeout like that. Oh, no, dear. But I really miss that in the Golden Lion. Regular listeners and viewers to the show will know I used to work in a place called the Golden Lion. It's gone now, it's closed down now. But every Monday I used to have a curry, a beef curry, and I used to cook it specially for me. It was lovely. All part of the deal, yeah. When you employ me, not only do you have to pay me wages, but I also insist on a meal as well. Preferably an all-you-can-eat buffet. We do like a buffet, as you know, as I keep mentioning, okay? Yeah, so James Dean apparently is going to be visiting in a few weeks' time, and I'm terrified, actually. I mean, I shall have to screw everything down. Oh, yeah, he's very, very... That's the trouble with James Dean, I'm telling you, very, very light-fingered. Shocking. I mean, he goes on... I've heard his show, you know, the matineeshow.co.uk, as you know, right? He does that show with this old dear called Madam Aries. And she keeps going on about her teeth. I don't know, something to do with teeth or something like that. I've got a feeling that James Dean has stolen her teeth and tried to sell them on eBay. But whatever. If he's coming here, I shall have to put everything away. I haven't got anything valuable in the house, but he nicks anything. Kettles, irons, pens, toilet rolls. I did have a lovely rug in the living room. Last time he stayed, that went missing. Dreadful. So I'm a bit concerned that James Dean may be visiting down here soon. And, oh dear, staying in my house, my God. Boy, he'll have to pay some sort of rent. I know what, I'll get him to clean the oven. I'll get him to clean the oven, then he won't ever want to come back after that, I'll tell you that. Last time that oven was cleaned properly, my mum was alive. I'm serious. Mum used to come down, it was 8 years ago. Wasn't it terrible? Terrible, terrible, terrible. Toby also says, I'm very into South Park. It's really great. Have you ever seen it? He says, however, it's from America. Is there a similar thing in the UK? He says, I think cartoons are good. What, similar to South Park? I don't know, actually. I can't think of one. We have South Park as well, and The Simpsons. We get all those American cartoons. But I'll be honest, I've never ever watched an episode of The Simpsons even. Don't really watch those. I used to like, when I was a kid, I used to like Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? But then, I mean, I remember telling you this a few months ago, that all the voices have changed. I put it on the other day, while I was flicking around the channels, and I thought, oh, I'll watch a bit of this Scooby-Doo, and all the voices have changed. You can't have Thelma with a voice like that. That's not Thelma's voice. Is it? And who's the pretty one with the blonde hair? She never ages, does she? That girl in Scooby-Doo. What was it? Thelma? Who's the other ones? She's the only one I can remember. Thelma with the big National Health Service glasses she's got, isn't she? But they're not the same voices, so I can't watch it anymore. Even Scooby-Doo was sounding decidedly different. It's not right, dear. It's not right. He says, I recently watched a film called The Others. It's a Spanish film, but produced in Spain and acted by American actors. No, I haven't seen that one. He says, you sometimes talk about good films. Here's one I suggest for you. So I shall have to look that one up, called, what is it, The Others. Make a little note of that. What's it about? You don't tell me what it's about there, my friend. Want to know what that's about? Let me see. I think that's. Oh, he's giving me tips here. Apparently, the second time I mentioned his girlfriend's name, I got the pronunciation wrong. He says, I noticed you mispronounced my girlfriend's name again. Here is tips from me to pronounce foreign names. I suggest you pronounce all A, E, I, O, U to their original Latin sounds. So that's I-E, A-R, E, Ow, oh, oh, can't do this, mate. And don't pronounce AI as bike for I, because this English sounds shift is rather uncommon to any other languages. Just like French, you never pronounce AI for now. You see, you completely lost me here, I'm afraid, Toby. I know you do languages. You see, your brain is made to do languages. Mine isn't, I'm afraid. It goes back to that old saying, you know, we're all made to do different things. Mine, I'm afraid, much that I would love to go to, and I would love to do this programme in various different languages and slip in and out of different languages and say perhaps hello, bonsoir en français, bonsoir, comment ça va? Ça va bien, merci, et vous? Je m'appelle Christophe. It's not bad, but I'd love to slip in and out of lots of different languages and do that. But I don't think it's something you can learn. Absolutely not. You know, you've either got that or you haven't. Yeah, okay. If you've got it, you do have to learn it, but it will come very easily to you. Perhaps I could learn another language, but it would be very, very difficult and a lot of work for me to do it. So where you're saying here, I suggest you pronounce it. It's not connecting in my brain. It kind of comes in all jumbled up, all that business. I don't understand what you're going on about. All right, but appreciate, of course, you trying to explain to me. Now, yours is one of the emails, I'm afraid, that got all jumbled up. It's sort of double printed on the. On the printer, so that's as far as I can see on that one. All right, thank you, Toby. Oh, look who it is! It's our Doug. Hello, Doug in Akeley. Been a while since I heard from you, sir. Nice of you to email in. Hi, Chris. He was asking if anybody else had homework. Do you remember we were talking about that the other day? I nicked that idea off Ross Patzelt's radio show. Oh, incidentally, Ross P has at last sorted a proper website address for his show, because that was awfully long. I didn't like to say anything to you, Ross, dear, but it was awfully long-winded, that URL you had for your radio show. So if you want to listen to Ross Patzelt's talk show, you can now go to rosspatzelт.co.uk. How much easier is that? rosspatzelт.co.uk. He says, yo dudes, I got so fed up with the long URL, so I has finally figured out how to change it. So here's the new ones. My chat show is at rosspatzelт.co.uk. So thank God for that, dear. God's sake. It was taking me forever. I couldn't remember that. Nearly as bad as trying to remember Matinee Show or The Matinee Show, isn't it? Back to Doug's email. He says, in high school, homework did not bother me much at all, and a lot of it was stuff I was interested in, science and electronics. But when I went to college, I was dumped on with homework and hated it. I think we all do. As I say, I went to a very, very good school, the London Oratory School in Fulham, and we had an enormous amount of homework there, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. So much that my mum did all of it and I just had to copy it out. But even then I complained. And it's just awful. I don't think children should be given homework. You should go to school, do your stuff there, and then that's it. I don't go along with all these hours of homework. Doug says, he was also asking about if any of us had bad neighbours. Well, I used to live in an apartment here in Akeley. I had Mexicans for neighbours. Big mistake, always playing their music too loud. Well, I don't suppose for one moment that's all Mexicans. You were just unlucky. It could have been anyone. and I would take the frying pan in hand and start banging on the wall, yelling, "Turn that damn rubbish down," or I would call the police. And sometimes I would do a payback and put on Kate Smith's God Bless America. And don't get me started on illegal immigration. They're destroying this country, and most don't want to adapt to, most don't want to adapt to our way of life anyway. Yeah, now I think that's wrong as well. I really do. If you go to another country, you have to live as those people in that country do. I don't have a problem with people coming to live in my country, as long as you try and fit in, rather than trying to change the country as you want it. And I think you'll find that most indigenous populations of every country think the same as that. Often you get these two-bob councillors who say, "Oh, you have to understand how they lived." Well, perhaps they shouldn't have come here in the first place if they don't like the country. That's the whole idea, isn't it? I think the whole idea, if I was to ever move, you know, I've got a bit of a dream about perhaps one day emigrating to Australia, but I would do my damnedest to try and live as they live. I'm fully aware that the Australian way of life is much easier going, almost to the point of being a little bit too slow sometimes. I also noticed while I was in Australia, even in Sydney, people do seem to go to bed at a reasonable hour. I think here in the UK, a lot of people stay up much later. But I would certainly try and fit into that way of life, rather than going there and trying to change the country to suit me. That's not on at all, so I understand what you're saying there. Once again, I reiterate that. I don't mind people coming to this country and setting up home here. But you've got to try and fit in with us, not the other way round. And I don't mean religious things, okay? Keep your religion, fine, no problem at all. You can build a couple of religious places, but don't try and change the country as a whole to suit yourself. You come and live how we want to live, and if I come to your country, I will try and come and live how you live. It's only fair. Doug says, you was also asking about ice inside a window. Yeah, when we lived in Roehampton, we have no heating in there. And there was often ice on the inside of the window when I woke up. When I was a kid in Marshalltown, my bedroom was upstairs, and it did not heat very good up there. I would get ice on the inside of my bedroom window, and when it would get real cold outside, would also get frost around the air conditioning outlets in the wall. Blimey, that was cold. He says, I would go to bed wearing a stocking cap and sleep in a sleeping bag under the covers in my bed. And all the time, them damn guy wires would be humming from the wind. Was that in a tent as well? People have been asking about singers, and you wonder if you're into Aaron Carter, or the Jonas Brothers, the boy band type music. I don't know. Aaron Carter, now that rings a bell. Aaron Carter. Wasn't he about 12 years old, and he had a record out about 5 or 6 years ago? As far as I know, that was the only record that came out here. It's the only one that I can't even remember the tune now. I definitely remember the name Aaron Carter, but he kind of had one record out and then disappeared. Jonas Brothers, don't know who they are. He says, found a Jeremy Jordan and Jerry Lawrence CD at a Goodwill store a few weeks back and was wondering if you remember these guys. I don't remember any of those, but I do remember Aaron Carter. I'm sure he was about 12 years old, he had blonde hair, and he bought a record out. But that was the only one, and it would have been about 5, 6, 7 years ago, perhaps, as far back as that. What happened to him? Is he still... I'll have to have a look at that on the internet, actually. Aaron Carter, making a note of that, sir. Okay? Plastic people, he says. He says, I worked with a woman years ago that was like that. I always told her she reminded me of a Barbie doll. Come on, Barbie girl. Da, 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 da. You know that one, didn't you? Yes. I always looked the same. No, sorry, he says, this woman always looked the same. And when you say plastic, other things come to mind, because I'm a supervisor at the plastics plant. He says, I'm listening to your 5-hour music mix now. Into it 1 hour. Oh, yes, doing a little bit at a time. That's all for now. Take care, from Doug in Akeley. Yeah, I do, as you know, one of the jobs I do, I am a club DJ. And every week I do upload a music mix. Now, this particular thing, just in case anyone else wants to go and grab a pen, because I'm going to give you a URL for this, okay? Every week I upload a roughly 1 hour, 15 minute music mix. And it's all fully licensed and everything like that with the podcast licensing people. It's an hour and a quarter long, and it's non-stop club music, all mixed together by yours truly. You usually find the latest promotional items that I've been sent from the record companies within this mix. And if you want to download that, you can go to www.chrisreardonshow.co.uk. And you'll find all the information there, okay? Once again, chrisreardonshow.co.uk. Try one, you never know, you might like it, and there's a new one up there every week. Usually about an hour and a quarter long, although there is one on there as well that's 5 hours long, okay? chrisreardonshow.co.uk. All right, boys and girls, that's all from the show today. If you want to email in, it'd be lovely to hear from you. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Suko was recognised somewhere this week. I'll tell you about it on the next show, okay? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thanks for listening and watching. See you on the next one. Bye-bye now.